most people tend to think by analogy or by comparison with something that already exists. And this is a sort of a mental shortcut that requires less brain strain, but it does not, it's hard to get fundamental insights unless you think about things from a first principle standpoint.
Hey there, and welcome to my channel, The Paper Bag Investor. Today's video, I want to look at why I believe Tesla stock, even though it's risen so sharply in the last year, I think it's going to go much higher. And this is a great example of first principles reasoning versus reasoning by analogy or reasoning by comparison, which is what that intro video of Elon Musk was talking about. So without further ado, let's get into it. And before I go any further, I just want to make it absolutely clear, I'm not a personal financial advisor, just a guy with a paper bag on his head who loves investing and thinking about the future. If you love investing, you love thinking about the future, I encourage you to hit that subscribe button down below, follow along, and become a better investor with me as my channel grows. This channel is not about pumping out all the hottest just stocks, for example, or the stocks of the minute. I really want to look deeply at stocks, any investment opportunity, and really try and hone in and find the best investing opportunities and really present that research, that information to you guys, my viewers, so that you can become better investors, you can make the best investing decisions possible. Okay, so in today's video, I want to talk about why I think Tesla stock is going much higher, why I think a lot of people might say just because Tesla stock has risen so dramatically in the last year and a half, they would think that Tesla stock can't go any higher. And just connect this back to what Elon Musk was saying in that introductory video where he talked about first principles reasoning. So what is first principles reasoning? It's really the ability to think through the value proposition of something, to think through the logical conclusion or the possibility of something from a first principle standpoint. And first principle standpoint, what we're talking about there is what's the most fundamental basic truths about the universe that we know to be true, and then building up from those truths. Elon Musk in the interview talked about how these fundamental truths come from physics. That's the most fundamental way to understand the universe and its limitations. And I want to just sort of bridge what Elon was saying about first principles in thinking, though, and apply that to investing and to stock prices in general, because a lot of people think when a stock price goes up, they think, well, just because now the stock has risen, it must be sort of have a pullback, or now it's going to come down. Or just because a stock goes down, people think, oh, now because it's come down, it's going to come up. That's just because people they don't actually do any fundamental analysis about the company itself. They don't really do any fundamental analysis about what the future value or services or products of the company could look like. They just kind of compare the recent history. It's comparison by analogy. They look at the recent history, the recent stock prices. They look at other companies, and they know, oh, things go up, things go down. We can't really tell. But I would call this very, very simplistic reasoning, very, very simplistic analogy where you're just sort of comparing the stock price of any company kind of to the general market as a whole, which tends to go up, but also has lots of ups and downs, of course. It's a huge entire market. But again, fundamentally, this is improper thinking, this sort of reasoning by analogy when you're trying to figure out, well, now as the stock has risen so sharply, should I sell my shares or could I keep holding my shares? Or the stock has risen sharply, should I even buy more shares at this point? I can't emphasize enough that this first principle reasoning when it comes to investing, when it comes to stocks, is so important, because it's what allowed me to buy my first shares of Tesla at about $220 pre-split, before the split happened. But I bought shares again at $300 a share, $700 a share, $800 a share, $1,000 a share, $1,500 a share. This is all pre-split, and then of course it split 5-to-1. And all as it rose up that huge sort of steep incline, many people were saying, oh, you should sell your shares now. Like, it'd be crazy not to sell your shares, even at $700 a share pre-split. Now we're getting close to, after the split, and $700 again, 5 times what that price was. That was just earlier this year. That was early this year. So it's so important to really understand what the actual value proposition of your company or your investment could be in the future, and to really set that as your anchor, that as your price point, and then make your decisions based on that. I'm going to bring up a really great thread that I saw on Twitter the other day. This is my Twitter account because I retweeted this thread. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at PaperBagInvest if you're into Twitter. I'm going to scroll down here, though. And just retweeted this tweet from somebody called First Principle Investor. He has a really great account on Twitter. And he retweeted something that Ross Gerber said. I do like Ross overall. He's a Tesla bull. But something interesting he did say, he said, keep in mind, for Tesla to go 10x again, it will have to be worth $5 trillion, not to be a buzzkill. And I think what Ross is saying here is that he's basically saying, that's just an insane evaluation, $5 trillion for it to be worth that. The biggest companies in the world are around $2 trillion to Apple and Amazon, but so $5 trillion is just an obscene amount. Okay, but what really Ross is saying here is he's doing a reasoning from analogy. And First Principle Investor points this out. He says, the problem of seasoned investors is always their tendency of reasoning from analogy. $1 trillion valuation is unthinkable for them, let alone $5 trillion. If you reason from first principles, there's no law limiting such upside. Tesla will dominate multiple markets with trillion-dollar total addressable markets. For years, we have been observing the threat of competitors, but to no avail. Tesla is winning both battery and autonomy fronts and is going to be winner takes all. And this is just a really great example. I don't want to throw Ross under the bus, but we kind of are in a sense, because it sounds like Ross is saying, and we don't know exactly what he meant, it's just Twitter, but it sounds kind of like he's saying, this isn't just an obscene amount, like for people saying Tesla's going to 10x again from where it currently is. You're kind of like as if a company's ever going to reach 5 trillion. Well, interesting thing is, I'm sure people, when the first company hit $100 billion years ago, people would have said the same thing, that how could a company ever reach $100 billion? I remember when it was just a few years ago, not very long ago, Apple reached $1 trillion valuation. It was very, very big news as people kind of realized this was a huge milestone for a company to reach $1 trillion valuation. They thought, this is just obscene, $1 trillion. Well, it only took a couple years later, and Apple's now past the $2 trillion mark. So to think that a company could be someday worth 5 trillion, even 10 trillion, even 20 trillion as the world becomes more global, more organized, more efficient, there's more output per person overall. I think there's going to be these just massive companies that could dominate whole industries, especially when you look at industries like full self-driving and battery technology, the two industries that I believe Tesla is a huge leader in. They really are a huge leader in. So that's just one quick example for you guys of this reasoning by analogy or reasoning from a first principle standpoint. And it's just so important. Again, I can't emphasize this enough. If you're thinking from analogy, you're thinking from comparison, you're going to often sell your big winning companies sooner than you should have, because you're going to think, oh no, like there's no way this can go higher. It's already kind of made my money on the stock. And guess what? The stock might go, 10 times higher, 20 times higher, 100 times higher than you, at the point you even sold it for the profit you sold it for. So again, you have to start with the fundamental thinking and reason up from there about what the future could hold, what your company could hold for the future. And I really believe for Tesla in specifically, this really applies. And many people think it's kind of run its course. It's way overbought, but I think there's much more room for growth when you look at the industries they're tapping into and how they're leading those industries. And I'm not going to go into details of that. That'll be for another video or other videos in the past that I have done on my channel. You can check out as well. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you got value out of this video, I just encourage you, hit that subscribe button down below. I'm not trying to be like the stock market guru, incredible guy. I'm just here. I'm just someone who's loves investing, has done it for about 12 years, has averaged 25% compound annual growth rate over the 12 years. And I just know that there's that investing and using your finances wisely is not something that's taught well in school, not something that people are educated on. And so that's a big reason why I want to start this channel, is just help share some of the things I know, some of the knowledge I know, and see other people, see you guys grow from that. So let me know also in the comments what you thought of this whole video. Hit that thumbs up button, as they say, smash the like button, all that jam. Thanks you guys so much for watching. Have a great day. Cheers.